Oh my god.
Yeah. Well,
I'm so mad.
Even at Cambridge University, England, even at Oxford, even people with PhDs, this stuff was going on all the time. It was off the hook. The level of just lies and deception and cheating among and I didn't know that many people at Cambridge Oxford.
Yeah,
but
you are not
I knew this
that
stuff
way.
all
You are
the
totally
time.
Like, your whole thing is being virtuous. Is having.
Well, and look where it got me. Look, we've talked about this a lot. You know, I don't think people don't want to live alone. You know, like it's not just the nuclear family and falling in love and having kids. Like there are other reasons why people want to have sexual partners. Like historically and in terms of evolution, you live in a tribe. Even in medieval Catholic Europe, just because people were dying all the time, people would remarry. People had multiple sexual partners just because they had multiple marriages, even if they were totally faithful in a marriage, which they weren't. You know, when a lot of people in medieval Catholic Europe didn't get married at all.
Yeah.
You know, and just say, I mean, they had other forms of arrangements, which doesn't show up in Shakespeare. Well, I guess indirectly it does, because there's a lot of joking about sex in Shakespeare. So on the comedy level, at least, you get a bit more of a sense of the reality of pre-modern sexuality. Like, sex is gross for a reason. People have inhibition for a reason. You know what I mean? People feel revolted about one another for a reason. But like, why do you overcome that? Almost nothing worth doing can be done alone. And like even raising a newborn baby, like to really do that as two people, whether there are all these corny sayings, it takes a village to raise a child, or it takes a whole family, or whatever. I mean, as much contempt as I may have for like Onision and his girl Lainey, like they're trying to put together a tribe. They're trying to put together a team of people who work together to raise these kids and have a meaningful life or whatever.
Yeah.
Total contempt for them. But still, like, you can see the impulse there. They don't want to live alone. They do, obviously. They live out in the countryside, and they have no friends where they are. Whether or not they had any friends before, I doubt. Not hating, but that's for a lot of us. You get to be middle-aged, and you look around and say, wow, where are all my friends? Some of them moved to, whatever.
Yeah,
there are all different reasons, whether they just moved to other cities, or you moved, or whatever. I see people who are trying in that sense to have a cohesive and loving social unit, and human sexuality is a part of that.
You completely I had very I don't know what you call it. Just my views on it were totally based on Christianity. But that to me makes so much sense now after like coming to terms with it, that and also after helping with your daughter, like seeing how much having other people around, having a tribe of people, having a bigger family is so much more valuable than just being on your own, which is so common these days. Sexuality can play a role in it, and for the right people.
I was just going to say, she grew up, she sang with Christian values, but she didn't actually read the Bible. The actual material on sexuality in the Bible is very different.
Sorry, I was blanking on the right term.
No, I know.
I don't know.
No, I know, but look, what's actually described in the Bible is men owning slaves and having sex with their slaves, in addition to their wives, having children with their slaves, servants and handmaidens, and having sex with the rest of them. It's a brutal patriarchy, in the truest sense of the word patriarchy. And prostitution. There's not one negative word about prostitution in the Old Testament. There's only positive or neutral words about prostitution. The actual depiction of what's normal sexuality. Of course, there are also things like incest and what have you, which are not depicted positively, but the fact that they're depicted at all and how that's dealt with, and deceit, and the kind of sexual skullduggery that's there. This is not even getting into the Song of Solomon, but I just mentioned you had the sanitized version, and that's what's interesting too, is that even if you did actually use the Bible, even the Book of Psalms and Song of Solomon and the Old Testament, and the view of
these,
look how family units actually work. Look, and that's also, sorry, I say this in conversation time, I think that's one of the really sick things that comes out in situations like polyamory and open relationships is that a lot of people, what they kind of want to do is go back to slavery. They want to have like unequal parties come into their homes and basically be their slaves. Of course they don't say it that way, but if you even just look at the wanted ads, what couples are saying, it's like, oh, looking for a third person who will clean up our shit and have sex with us, and like what you're looking for is an unpaid servant, who doesn't really, who doesn't have equal status, who doesn't make the decisions about money and so on in the family,
right?
Who isn't, yeah. So I just say a lot of people, I see the kind of the return to slave-like family arrangements by default.
Yeah. I mean, you are very perceptive, and right. Like the other day when you told me that you were talking to so and so, I've like immediately was like, oh, he doesn't love me anymore. Like, I mean, it's just these really stupid, like,
right.
It doesn't, that is immediately what I was thinking. I was like, oh.
Right. And I saw you like 3 hours later, and you were just like, you just seemed slightly abstracted. And I was like, oh, like, I can tell you're upset about this. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, at that point already, I was
yeah, and it's not like, you're totally...
Right.
You're totally calm and rational about it, and you talk to me about these things and say,
Look, the other thing that really frames this are kind of the lies that men commonly tell, and, it's you can't kind of compare yourself to an abstract other person. But still, like I've said to you, if I'm talking to someone who's attractive, and a lot of men lie this way. A lot of men will lie to both women.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm just talking to a colleague about this subject, and then you find later that she's gorgeous, and like, oh, I didn't even notice. Like, I didn't even notice she was an attractive female. She's just a colleague. But that can be at work. That can be in the workplace. You lie about that, and that can be, on the internet. Like, oh no, I just started talking to this person. I didn't even notice that they're gorgeous or something. That they're a really attractive member of the That's a kind. It's like, look, you don't want me to lie to you. I mean, like, I know. Look, there's a level in which, like, okay, you wouldn't have this jealous reaction if I told you it was a man, or if I told you someone who's hideously ugly, right? Presumably, right? But still, it's not a solution. It's a lie, and again,
I don't even know about the hideously ugly part, though.
Oh, you don't? Yeah, maybe you'd be jealous of him. But look, the point is, that's the kind of lie men tell exactly to set up cheating, right? And then on the other side, I don't lie to anyone about the extent to which I'm committed to Melissa. Where, like, when I talk to people, I started doing this way back before I even had a YouTube channel, when I had a blog, text-based, blog. Like, at the start of the conversation, it's like, Melissa and I are packing up to move to Taiwan. Yeah. And where it's just implicitly built into it, like, here's a video of, or a picture of, this is me and Melissa together doing this.
Right.
Like, where, no, but a lot of men, I can't say most, a lot of men, and this has even been on the internet, there are men who'll be like, oh yeah, well, I'm not really with this girl, like, I mean, I can't say,
it's just a friend.
I can't say I'm single, but it's nothing serious. So one of my female friends, who is conventionally good looking, she was talking to a guy, and I think they met up for coffee, kind of thing, and his whole act was like, oh well, I kind of sort of have this girlfriend, but it's no big deal. But today with Facebook, like, on Facebook, there was, like, the two of them announcing their pregnancy and shit. Like, so they, liar. It's like, dude, you told me, like, oh, yeah, like, you kind of sort of have this chick you sometimes sleep with on the side kind of thing, but you're single and available. And it's
my God.
Yeah. Well,
I'm so mad.
Even at Cambridge University, England, even at Oxford, even people with PhDs, this stuff was going on all the time. It was off the hook. The level of just lies and deception and cheating among, like, and I didn't know that many people at Cambridge, Oxford.
Yeah,
but
you are not
I knew this
that
stuff
way.
all
you are
the
totally,
time.
Like, your whole thing is being virtuous. Is having.
Well, and look where it got me. I mean, I'm also self-critical. It's my life is Bronze Age virtues, right? Yeah. But yeah, and there was an example on YouTube So Jacqueline Glenn was the female, and then the male, his screen name is Social Repose. But the fundamental deception that his cheating on her relied on was him writing to women and saying, no, like he has a girlfriend on YouTube, but that's only a fake girlfriend. Oh it's not really an emotional commitment or whatever. That he's really looking for true love elsewhere. So again, those kinds of lies,
Yeah, it happens all the time. I know.
But look, anyway,
maybe that's partly why why my imagination runs wild, is because growing up seeing dramas and TV shows with all this crap, you know, it permeates your mind.
Right.
You think that there's something going on when there's nothing, and it's just destructive. You really have to trust your partner.
Maybe that's a good thing to close on. A big tension in all my relationships. I know people think I'm like this very dominant character, and in some ways I am. But any decisions made in a relationship, and this is with you and with all the women I was with, I've always wanted to have a kind of democracy in the relationship where it's like, okay, we're going to talk this through, we're going to make the decision. Even stuff like airplane tickets, you know what I mean? I never want to just be the one saying like, no, you don't, like I'm just going to decide this on my own and stuff. But whatever it is. And I think that obviously leads to a lot more talk and a lot more emotional exhaustion and a lot more friction, And
that's true.
Rather
than being a dominating force and just saying, "Okay, I booked airplane tickets."
Right.
Okay, I booked the hotels.
Right. Whether it's matters of the heart or practical things like that. And a lot of people, at least out of laziness, just want to be dominated. Yeah. They'd prefer to have a dominant or domineering husband who's taking care of things 9/10 of the time or whatever, who's just decisively making those decisions.
Yeah.
And I kind of refuse to play that role on anything that's meaningful, anything that's important.
Right.
But look, even clothes shopping. Like when we discuss
everything.
Yeah. No, I mean we kind of have an equal vote.
I can't think of
but all kinds of like relatively trivial crap like that, like buying kitchen equipment,
even
or clothes shopping
at the grocery store.
No, we talked about like, okay, do you want to buy this rice cooker or whatever?
Yeah.
For me,
I always regret it when I don't talk to you about these decisions.
Right.
I always purchase something without having talked it through with my son, and I'm like, God damn it. I bought a shirt for my niece as a gift, and it was way too expensive. And I really regretted that you weren't with me.
Gift shopping. Yeah. Then you're going to... But look, I wasn't saying this to boast, though. I think in a lot of my relationships, that's been... that's what's kind of worn things out faster. Was my insisting, no, I want to include you. I want to consult with you. I want you to really be a part of this in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. Another video ends in a stalemate. We definitely did not come to a decision.
Solution for how to solve my jealousy problem.
The solution is no solution.